She tried to escape out of the jury box, then resisted the arrest.
Shameful! Shameful!
Courtrooms are often thought of as places of order and decorum, where justice is served with impartiality. But what happens when emotions boil over, tempers flare?
Kiss my This is
You know what? No. I'm gonna tell you what. You don't come in, you don't. Okay, that's contempt.
And the unexpected takes center stage. In this video, we delve into some of the most unforgettable courtroom incidents, where even the gavel of justice struggled to maintain control. Can you picture a judge doubling a bond amount mid-hearing, only to escalate matters further after a defiant outburst? This is precisely what happened in a Miami-Dade County courtroom in February 2013, where Penelope Soto, an 18-year-old first-time offender, faced Judge George Rodriguez Chomot. Judge George Rodriguez Chomot and Penelope Soto. This is the case of Penelope Soto, an 18-year-old arrested for illegal possession of Xanax, who became infamous for flipping off a judge.
Approximately about $200 a week.
The session began like any other bond hearing. Soto, smiling and casual, stood before Judge George Rodriguez Chomot as he reviewed her charges. She was accused of possessing 26 Xanax bars. The judge inquired about her financial situation, asking if she was employed and owned any valuable property. Soto, laughing intermittently, admitted to making about $200 a week and owning substantial jewelry. When the judge pressed her on the value of her jewelry, Soto compared its worth to something like Rick Ross. This prompted the judge to sternly remind her, this is not a club. Be serious about it. Despite Soto's apology, her demeanor remained cavalier. This also prompted the judge to make sure if she was in her senses and hadn't taken any kind of drugs in the last 24 hours.
Ms. Soto, you working?
Yes.
How much money are you making a week, approximately?
Approximately about $200 a week.
Okay, and do you own any property of value? A house, a car, bank account, significant amounts of jewelry?
Yes.
What do you own?
I own a lot of jewelry, all right, as well as
Go ahead.
a car.
Well, how much would you say your jewelry is worth? It's not a joke, you know. We are not in a club now.
Okay, but it's
we are not in a club. Be serious about it.
The judge initially set her bond at $5,000 and dismissed her with a simple bye-bye. Soto, smiling, replied, "Adios," as she walked away. Her flippant attitude prompted Judge Rodriguez Chomot to call her back. He raised her bond to $10,000, stating firmly, "I am serious. Adios." This escalation would have been the end of the matter, but Soto's next actions changed everything. As Soto walked away again, she turned back, flipped the judge her middle finger, and uttered a profanity. The courtroom fell silent as the judge, visibly offended, immediately summoned her back. "Did you just say that to me?" he asked. "Yes, I did," Soto admitted without hesitation. Judge Rodriguez Chomot wasted no time in finding her in direct criminal contempt. "I find you in contempt of the court," he declared, sentencing her to 30 days in jail. Soto responded with a defiant, "That's fine," as she was led away.
Adios.
Come back, ma'am. Come back. Come back. Give me the paper again. Count one will be 10,000.
Are you serious?
I am serious. Adios. Come back again. Come back again. Bring her back again.
What's up?
I believe I heard you saying to...
Yes, I did. I'm not going to the...
I believe you... Did you say...
Yes,
me?
actually, I
Did you say that?
Yes, sir, I did.
Oh, you did say that?
I'm not
I find you in
gonna lie.
direct criminal contempt. 30 days in the county jail.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine.
30 days in the county jail.
3 days later, Soto returned to court a completely different person. Tearful and apologetic, she stood before the judge to address her behavior. With her family and lawyer by her side, she expressed deep regret. My behavior was very irrational, and I apologize not only to the court and you, but to my family. The judge acknowledged her apology and took the opportunity to impart a broader lesson. We live in a society where young people feel it's perfectly okay to use profanity and disrespect authority figures, he said. That is unacceptable. He emphasized the dangers of drug use, explaining that her addiction to Xanax likely influenced her behavior. Drugs can put you in a very difficult situation, he told her, adding that her actions could have made her a convicted felon, complicating her future.
My behavior was very irrational, and I apologize not only to the court and you, but to my family.
Don't cry, just don't.
And I normally don't act like that. So,
Let me ask you a quick question. Did you use Xanax? Did you take any Xanax Sunday?
yes, I did.
How many?
2.
Two? Learn a couple of lessons. Lesson number 1 is that drugs can put you in a very difficult situation. It is because of your use of Xanax, which I understand today is a polydrug, can put you, to convert you, make you a felon, a convicted felon. It can put you in county jail like you have been.
Moved by her apology, the judge vacated the contempt ruling, rescinding the 30-day jail sentence. He also canceled her $10,000 bond, allowing her to leave custody directly from the courtroom. However, he stressed that her path to recovery would require her active participation in a drug treatment program at the Improving Life of Miami facility. You are being given an opportunity to overcome your addiction, the judge told her. I hope you take this seriously and learn from it.
I hope you learn that lesson.
I did.
And you're going to make your best effort to help improving life of Miami, help you with your resolve and cure your addiction problem.
Yes.
Can you imagine a judge so provoked by a single scream that he abandons his courtroom, chases down the offender, and hands out a jail sentence on the spot? This isn't the plot of a courtroom drama, but a real-life incident that unfolded in Hamilton County, Cincinnati, Ohio. Judge Michael Bachman and Cassandra Jackson. The incident occurred on September 4th, 2018, when Cassandra Jackson, a distressed woman seeking a protection order, found herself caught in an unexpected and controversial legal entanglement. Jackson arrived at the courthouse early that morning, hoping to file the necessary paperwork. However, she missed the 8:10 a.m. deadline. Frustrated, she let out a scream in the hallway, a cry of anger and despair at the system that seemed to work against her. Inside a nearby courtroom, Magistrate Michael Bachman was presiding over a hearing. The scream penetrated the walls, interrupting the proceedings. Bachman, visibly irritated, stopped the hearing and stormed out of the courtroom. Security footage captured what happened next. Bachman chased Jackson down the hallway, pointed at her, and ordered her to return to the courtroom. She hesitated, walking toward the public elevator. Determined, Bachman placed his hand on her shoulder and physically guided her back toward the courtroom. Once inside, the situation escalated. Jackson was directed to sit in the jury box as Bachman resumed his position on the bench. Without hearing her side of the story, he pronounced her in contempt of court for disrupting the proceedings and sentenced her to 3 days in jail. Jackson, shocked and distraught, pleaded with the judge. "Why, every time I come here to get help, you always send me to jail," she cried. "You didn't even hear what it was I had to say, and now I gotta go to jail for 3 days. Bachman, unyielding, responded, "Now it's 10, ma'am." Court deputies approached Jackson to enforce the sentence, but she resisted. A chaotic struggle ensued as multiple deputies and courtroom staff worked to subdue her. Jackson's cries and resistance only added to the tension. She was eventually handcuffed and dragged out of the courtroom. The tumult didn't end there. Jackson continued to resist as she was transported to the Justice Center, where she was restrained and later placed in a restraint chair. The public's reaction was swift and unforgiving. Video footage of the incident circulated widely, sparking outrage. Critics accused Bachman of overstepping his authority and exhibiting a clear lack of patience, dignity, and courtesy. The Ohio Supreme Court later stated that his actions demonstrated a total disregard for Jackson's well-being. 6 days after the incident, Bachman resigned from his position as magistrate. He maintained that his actions were justified, telling reporters, "I didn't choke her or manhandle her. I merely put my hand up to guide her to the courtroom." The video speaks for itself. Yet the fallout from the incident didn't end with his resignation. In December 2020, the Ohio Supreme Court suspended Bachman's license to practice law for 6 months, citing his conduct as unacceptable and inconsistent with the standards expected of a judicial officer. This next case is one of those rare moments where the gavel of justice seems to come down too harshly, leaving everyone questioning the very nature of fairness. Judge Alexis Trott and Burhan Chaudhry. Can you imagine a judge entrusted to uphold dignity instead yelling at a 72-year-old cancer patient over unkempt weeds? This is the story of Judge Alexis Trott. It happened in Hamtramck, Michigan, a small city known for its rich ethnic diversity. Judge Alexis Trott, serving on the 31st District Court since her appointment in 2016, presided over a Zoom court hearing involving Burhan Chaudhry, a 72-year-old Bengali American battling cancer. Chaudhry had been ticketed for failing to maintain his yard, with weeds growing around his garage, a common issue in the area. As the hearing unfolded, Chaudhry explained his situation, his voice frail and his demeanor humble. He told the judge about his health, detailing his struggles with cancer and his inability to tend to his property. But what happened next was something no one in the virtual classroom could have anticipated.
Yes, my name Burhanuddin Chaudhry.
All right. You have a ticket from August 2nd, 2021, 521. You can plead responsible with an explanation, or not responsible.
Explain what? I am a cancer patient, very old ma'am. And I am a cancer patient. I was then very weak, and very weak. And this time of rainy season, I cannot look after this thing.
Trott's reaction was swift and severe. Her voice rose sharply as she addressed Chaudhry. "Shameful," she exclaimed. "The neighbors shouldn't have to look at that. You should be ashamed of yourself." The words echoed with a harsh finality, her tone unyielding. She even went as far to threaten jail time if Chaudhry was ticketed again for a similar offense. The courtroom fell silent for a moment before the judge moved on, but the damage was done. The interaction had been recorded, and soon the video spread like wildfire across social media. Outrage followed.
Of yourself. If I could give you jail time on this, I would. The fine is $100, pay it by February 1st. You better get that cleaned up. That is totally inappropriate.
Critics pointed to the judge's treatment of Chaudhry as unnecessarily cruel, with many accusing her of being insensitive and even biased against immigrants. A petition demanding her removal garnered over 300,000 signatures, with people across the nation condemning her behavior. But this was not the end of the story. Judge Trott herself acknowledged her mistake, taking the unusual step of self-reporting the incident to the Michigan Judicial Tenure Commission. The commission reviewed the case and ultimately decided against disciplinary action, acknowledging Trott's proactive admission of fault and her unblemished record as a judge. They noted her error, but highlighted her otherwise thoughtful and compassionate career. This case begins with a moment of chaos so unthinkable that it could only unfold in a courtroom, a place meant for order and justice. Judge Mary K. Holthus and Deborah Redden. This is the story of what happened in Las Vegas when Judge Mary K. Holthus faced an unimaginable assault. It was January 3rd, 2024, in a Clark County courtroom. The defendant, 31-year-old Deborah Redden, was there to receive sentencing for a felony battery charge. Judge Holthus, 62, sat behind the bench, preparing to deliver her decision. The courtroom was as ordinary as any other, calm, with the weight of legal proceedings filling the air. But that calm shattered in an instant. As Judge Holthus spoke, Redden, dressed in a white long-sleeved shirt, suddenly vaulted over the 4-foot-high bench, his movements swift and furious. The surveillance video later showed him lunging at the judge with shocking precision. He tackled her, pulling her from her seat and slamming her against the wall behind the bench. Chaos erupted. Redden screamed expletives as he struck Judge Holthus repeatedly, pulling at her hair and sending an American flag crashing to the floor. Court personnel sprang into action. A marshal and law clerk intervened, wrestling with Redden in a desperate attempt to protect the judge. 2 additional marshals responded to the panic alarm, but confusion about the courtroom location delayed their arrival. The struggle to subdue Redden was brutal. One marshal suffered a dislocated shoulder and a bleeding gash on his face. Meanwhile, Judge Holthus managed to crawl under her desk, clutching her face in an effort to shield herself from the onslaught. Eventually, Redden was overpowered and restrained. The courtroom left in a state of disarray. Judge Holthus, visibly shaken, sustained minor injuries, but chose not to be hospitalized. The attack, however, left an indelible mark on everyone present. In the aftermath, Redden faced 9 new charges, including attempted murder and battery on a protected person resulting in substantial bodily harm. During his arraignment in August, his defense argued he suffered from untreated paranoid schizophrenia, claiming he was in a delusional state during the attack. Redden pleaded not guilty by reason of insanity, but later changed his plea to guilty, but mentally ill, acknowledging his actions while citing his mental illness as a mitigating factor.
But I know that I'm not a bad person, and I'm thinking, like, even she knows that, but I'm sitting here like she's doing her job, you know? And I believe that you all know that I'm not a bad person, I'm not an evil person. When I came to court on January 3rd, 2024, I was listening to music, I was in a good mood, I had a stable place to stay, I was trying to get a job, I did not catch any new charges. I'm not a bad person. I don't understand why the state is trying to prove me as a bad person. I understand they have a job to do, but this is just, it's not right to me.
At his sentencing in December 2024, Redden addressed the court, insisting he was not a bad person and claiming he never intended to harm Judge Holthus. His words, however, were juxtaposed with a statement from the judge, read aloud by prosecutors. He made a conscious decision to kill me and made every effort to succeed. The courtroom fell silent as the judge presiding over the sentencing handed down a severe penalty, 26 to 65 years in prison. Redden, now eligible for parole only after 2050, sat stoic as the weight of his punishment settled over the room. This case is one of those courtroom moments where a single outburst changes everything. Imagine a judge maintaining decorum in a virtual courtroom, only to be met with relentless profanity and disrespect from a defendant. Judge Cedric Simpson and Daryl Gerald.
That's another 93. That's another 93. That's 693.
It happened in Washtenaw County, Michigan, during a hearing presided over by Judge Cedric Simpson. The defendant, Daryl Gerald, was facing a misdemeanor trespassing charge. Gerald was agitated, upset about the date of his next court appearance, and his frustration boiled over as the proceedings were about to close. The hearing was being conducted over Zoom, with several other defendants observing their turn in line. As the judge began to adjourn, Gerald lashed out. "You guys can kiss my ass," he said, his voice dripping with defiance. Judge Simpson paused. "You know what? No, he replied, a mixture of firmness and measured disbelief in his tone.
I could technically leave and you guys could issue a warrant as long as I don't return. You can just kiss my This is
you know what? No. I'm gonna tell you.
With that, the judge issued a 93-day jail sentence for contempt of court. But Gerald didn't stop there. Interrupting again, he spat out a string of expletives, including repeated "fuck yous" directed at the judge. Each profanity added fuel to the fire, and Judge Simpson responded methodically. "That's another 93. That's another 93. With every outburst, Gerald's time behind bars multiplied.
Don't. Okay, that's contempt. That's 93. Keep going. That's another 93. That's another 93. That's another 93.
By the end of the heated exchange, the contempt charges tallied up to 558 days, 6 consecutive sentences of 93 days each. The viral moment didn't just highlight the defendant's reckless defiance, but also underscored the judge's composure, even under extreme provocation. Gerald's attempt to voice his anger over a minor scheduling issue turned into nearly 2 years of jail time. These moments remind us that courtrooms, though steeped in tradition and authority, are ultimately spaces where human emotions and imperfections collide. Whether they teach valuable lessons or spark outrage, they serve as a stark reminder of the complexities within the justice system. Thank you for watching, and be sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more incredible stories from the world of law and order.